Mara Liasson, NPR News, the White House.
A Coast Guard lieutenant living in Maryland, who officials say wanted to carry out a terror attack on a massive scale, was arrested after investigators uncovered a large weapons cache. Officials say the man, identified as 49-year-old Christopher Paul Hassan, has been amassing the weapons since at least 2017 and allegedly wanted to carry out the attack to establish a white homeland. Court documents show a number of Democratic lawmakers and media personalities were apparently on Hassan's alleged hit list. Hassan is scheduled to appear before a judge tomorrow. Federal prosecutors say Hassan dreamed of ways to, quote, kill almost every person on Earth. He was reported to be an admirer of right-wing terrorist Anders Breivik, who killed 77 people in Norway in 2011. Chicago police say they've officially classified television actor Jussie Smollett as a criminal suspect. As Patrick Smith from member station WBEZ reports, investigators now think Smollett lied about being the victim of a hate crime.
Last month, Smollett told police two masked men assaulted him near downtown Chicago, yelling racial and homophobic slurs. Two brothers were arrested and questioned in the case, but they were released Friday. Now police say Smollett is suspected of filing a false police report. That's a felony that carries a possible prison sentence of up to 3 years. A police spokesman says detectives have presented evidence against Smollett to a grand jury. Smollett's lawyers could not immediately be reached for comment. The actor, who stars in the Chicago-based TV show Empire, has repeatedly stood by his account. For NPR News, I'm Patrick Smith in Chicago.
Federal Reserve policymakers, in minutes from the group's most recent meeting held in January, noted greater threats to the U.S. economy, ranging from effects of a government shutdown to rising trade tensions. However, the body also noted it would be patient in terms of raising interest rates. Minutes from the Fed's meeting show that while remaining on hold for now, further rate hikes might be needed if inflation were to accelerate. The Fed at its meeting last month voted to hold rates steady. Stocks edged higher today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 63 points. The Nasdaq was up 2 points. This is NPR. The Washington Post is facing a lawsuit over its coverage of last month's confrontation between Kentucky high school students and a Native American activist at the Lincoln Memorial. The family of the student, who figures prominently in the video that went viral, 16-year-old Nicholas Sandman, is seeking a $250 million damage award because that's what Amazon founder Jeff Bezos paid for the Post in 2013. The lawsuit was filed in federal court in Covington, Kentucky. It claims the Post ignored basic journalistic standards because it wanted to advance its bias against President Trump. The Post says it's reviewing a copy of the lawsuit and plans to mount a vigorous defense. After the latest diplomatic crisis between Israel and Poland over the Holocaust, U.S. Ambassador to Poland, Georgette Marshbauer, is urging Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz to apologize. And Nora Skevich reports from Berlin.
After Israel's foreign minister said Poles, quote, suckle anti-Semitism with their mother's milk, Poland's prime minister canceled his trip to Israel. On Wednesday, U.S. Ambassador Mosbacher said two strong allies like Israel and Poland, quote, are too important to each other not to work these things out. The diplomatic row escalated last week when Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was quoted as saying that the Poles collaborated with the Nazis. Netanyahu's office later said he was misquoted and that he said Poles, not the Poles, and meant to blame individuals instead of the whole nation. For NPR News, I'm Anna Norskevich in Berlin.
Crude oil futures prices closed higher today, rebounding from an earlier slide. Oil up 1.5% to end the session at $56.92 a barrel in New York. I'm Jack Spear, NPR News in Washington.
Did you know you can ask Google Home to play NPR podcasts for you? It's easy. Just ask. Like, play the Fresh Air podcast. Use Google Home or Google Assistant to connect with your favorite shows anytime.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to Paranormal Experience for our second hour with my friends Leah Michelle Poye and Dustn Coffey. They are Dead Zone Paranormal Radio Show and RIP, Rural Indiana Paranormal. And we have been having some dramatic technical issues, and we are back. So thank y'all for your patience. I appreciate it.
No problem. We have this problem all the time.
Well,
all the time.
You know, I always say that I think it's the topic. You know, I really think that sometimes it's an issue. Live radio and the paranormal do not always mix. So,
right.
Yep. But y'all sound fantastic.
Evidently, yeah.
And yay.
Sound good now.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So, you know, we were talking about this entity that Michelle was interacting with that was actually manifesting in front of her, and you were trying to get a picture of it when...
Right. I never could. I never could.
So
I
wild.
could never see it. I'm standing 1 foot away from her and Dustn with the camera, and I'm not seeing anything. I mean, maybe it's because I'm looking at the screen, so, you know what I mean?
I do.
I'm looking at the screen, or, you can't make out anything after looking into a screen like that, but nothing on the camera, basically. Nothing.
That had to be so frustrating because you know it's there, right? You know it's there.
I want to believe it was there. I mean, from what I could tell from both of their reactions, something was going on, and I was just not catching it, So, I mean, that's me. They don't like me. I say it all the time. They don't like me. They don't show themselves to me. They don't do anything. I'm just there to...
You know what I believe? I believe it's because, and I've told him this before, I believe it's because he's closed off about it. The more open you are, the more you start to
well,
feel.
it's like I say, I want to see it. I want to see what's going on. Show me.
I know.
I mean,
but subconsciously, you're very closed about it.
Right. Now, like the photos, the stills that I was talking about earlier, I didn't see anything. I never did see anything. I just had a feeling. I mean, like the ones in the bleachers there. I mean, I just turned around because something was telling me turn around and snap those pictures. So that's what I did. I mean, that's when we got the lady in white and the little boy or the clown. People, can't decide which is which. But things like that.
Yeah, but that situation was totally. It was kind of surreal when it happened. I went back and watched our static cam footage, and there was you couldn't see the entity materialize, but you could see Michelle and I look and have the same reaction at the same time. Like, we weren't looking at each other. We were kind of facing each other, but we weren't looking at each other. And we both looked in the same direction, watched this entity materialize, and just kind of stood there staring at the same area. And I could see the body outline plain as day, as if an individual had been standing there and just came out of nowhere. And which was actually what happened, but it was so surreal. And both our reactions were just about the same. It was quite an experience. We had a lot of fun that night, and you could feel the air leave the room when things got serious with this entity. When the entity turned and started to be aggressive with Michelle, and it happened all at once, and it was quite an experience. I'm having a hard time putting it into words, actually. And that's not something that's hard for me to do. I am not a guy that is ever lost for words.
No, you have plenty of words. That is not an issue for either one of us. So I feel ya. But every so often, it will just take your breath, won't it?
Yes, it can. Yes.
Yeah.
And
a lot of the times, like Michelle was saying earlier, that we all compliment each other as far as our group goes. There are a lot of times we'll be in an investigation, and Michelle will be like, "Are you feeling anything, and where at?" She won't lead with, "Hey, I'm feeling this in this area. How about you?" She'll be like, "Are you feeling anything? And if you are, where at?" And I'll just step right into exactly how she's feeling. And she'll be like, oh wow. Yeah, that's exactly what I've got going on. And leaves behind the camera like, "What's going on, guys?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. It is. That's absolutely true.
There are a lot of times that we'll start picking up on the K2, and Michelle will start getting some answers and this and that. And then it'll quit, and Leah look at me and he'll go, it just quit, completely went away, didn't it? I'll be like, "Yeah, I felt it leave the room."
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah, that's true.
You know, we have
That is
got to
true.
investigate together.
That'd
Oh,
be a
we
hoot.
love that.
That
Yeah.
really needs to
Absolutely.
happen.
That'd be cool. That'd
It
be
would be
absolutely
cool.
cool. Yeah.
And we just have to be in the same place at the same time when we're not already doing other things.
Right.
True.
So,
Right.
and we have another question for you in chat. And Carl would like to know, what is the furthest location that y'all have been to?
The furthest. Oh, I don't
Would that
know.
be like
Probably.
residential or, I mean, because we've
Say
driven
again?
pretty far to help someone out before. So
Yeah.
just in general.
I think
In general, yeah.
to do
Either one.
investigating.
Either one.
As far as
What did you say?
to investigate a personal residence, I think the furthest so far that we've traveled was what was
Attica.
that, like two? Attica
Was
is
it
like
Attica?
2.5 hours. It was Attica.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. We really don't have. Yeah, Randolph was a good 3.5 hours for us. We've been contacted by people states and states away, and we get teams to help them out. But I mean, we try to keep an open mind about traveling to help people if it's necessary. I mean, if we can't find somebody close enough to them that we know and respect and are well known with a good reputation, then we'll make it happen. But we'll go 3.5 hours. That's a pretty good radius for us, wouldn't you say, guys?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we do have another one. It's not a actual Well, I don't know if you want to call it an investigation or not. We're going to be what is it, Alton? For the
Illinois.
Yeah, with the race chasers.
with the Tennessee race chasers. We're going to be doing that. I mean, that's more of a publicity thing though, and I don't think that's going to be a real investigation. But that being said,
You still get
since we're going to be
evidence.
there, exactly. Since we're going to be there, I'd kind of like to do a little real snooping around too, and see what we can catch.
Well, tell me about
think that'd be
Alton,
a good
because
time.
I don't know what that is.
We haven't been there either. That's going to be our first time. It's like, I don't know if you know the team Riverbend Paranormal.
I do.
That's kind of like their home haunt, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. It's Mineral Springs.
Okay. I know
right.
Mineral Springs.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna meet. We met up with Riverbend and the guys from the Tennessee Race Chasers while we were out at the Ashmore States.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We went out there they had kind of like a meet and greet mini investigation with the Race Chasers, invited us out, and we recorded some stuff for Dead Zone, got some interviews with the guys from the Race Chasers, and Riverbend was kind of the hosting paranormal team for that event.
Right.
And, we spent a good part of the night talking with them and just kind of back and forth, jaw japping. And we had a good time. And they're good people. And they invited us last year to an event that they had at Mineral Springs. But, and as hard as it is for us to say and do, sometimes life gets in the way and we can't make it to different events or whatnot. So we weren't able to make that one, but we were invited again back this year and we're excited about it. Like I said, the team hosting at Riverbend, they're a great team. And of course we're going to hook back up with the Tennessee Race Chasers. Those guys are a riot.
They are, but you know what? They're really good too. They're good investigators.
They absolutely. And I was getting ready to say, they much like us, Lee and I, we joke, we have a good time. We like to cut up and enjoy our time. But when it comes time,
is that what you call it?
well, yeah, I mean, but when it comes time to get the recorders going and get down to a serious investigation, we get down to it and we do what we're there to do, and we put on that face. And the guys from the Tennessee Race Chasers are no different. I mean, when we